Welcome to EPG Pathshala. Myself, Dr. Pankaj Kumar, Assistant Professor in Sociology, Asansol Girls College, Department of Sociology, under the Kazi Nazrul University. Today, we are going to discuss Module 20. Topic is Displacement, Resistance and Collective Mobilization, and the paper name is Social Movement. Here, first we would like to introduce the topic. As the displacement is talking about, see the after independence, what we have find कि large number of people, especially the marginalized section of the society, which has been displaced from their natural locations, because the India or our developmental programs need to replace them. We need development. So what we find, in academic parlance, displacement may be either physical or economic, or if there is a physical displacement, it may be the physical relocation of the people resulting in a loss of shelter, productive assets, or as access to the productive assets. If we are defining the displacement in economic discourses, in that sense we can define it as a result from an action that interrupt or eliminate process of productive assets without the physically relocating the people themselves. Now what we will find, the after independence, large number of people has been displaced or relocated from their own homeland. So what we will find, the after independence we didn't have any record, or government didn't have any records after independence till 2014 when the new laws has been come up. Before that, whatever the laws was there, it has been totally misused or totally in the favor of those who are going to acquire the land for the development or for the other mega projects. So in this topic, displacement, collective mobilization, what we find, the large number of people, those who are displaced, they start protesting against the displacement. Maybe if the displacement, the displacement persons or displacement authority will be the district magistrate or the state government, then also what we find, the massive protest by the local people. So in this modules, we want to discuss their role. How they have been protesting, what their leadership, what's their result. I have here taken the total five projects, or five, actually this is the five dislocating, events, or we can say that this is the mega project, five mega projects where the people has been displaced by the central government or the state government also, how the people's movement, people protested for their austere. So these things I have discussed in these five movements. In that course, I have taken the first one is Tehri Dam. So in the Tehri Dam, I will say the Tehri Dam is actually located in the Uttaranchal, state of Uttarakhand. So in that, I want to discuss that, because this is the dam project. Dam are the biggest agent of displacement in India after independence. As a result, there has been the movement against them for a long time. So it was situated in the Gadwar Himalaya in the state of Uttarakhand. Is location of the Tehri Dam project. The massive dam is located at the confluence of Bhagirathi and the Bhilganga river in the foothill of Himalayas. One of the major issues was the number of project affected people were not initially included in the list of beneficiary for compensation or rehabilitation and resettlement process. The Tehri Dam was always perceived as a threat by the local population, who considered the river Bhagirathi not only as a means of livelihood, but their religious, cultural, emotional tie with its for generation. Here we want to again locate who are the leaders who are related with this Tehri Dam movement. So I want to discuss some of the name of the leaders, how they have been fight for the, or get some compensation for the people who have been dislocated. So movement leadership and their strategies. The Tehri Bhagirathi Virodh Sangathan Samiti was founded by the veteran freedom fighter Virendra Dutt Sanklani. The major objections included seismic sensitivity of the recent submergence of the forest area along with the Tehri Dam and so on. According to the Sundarlal Bahuguna, noted environmentalist, activist and a leader of the struggle against Tehri Dam project, the dam was built in the tier of the people of the project affected region, and in return the Austrians got nothing except miseries and suffering. What he want to tell the people that, see, after the dam will be created or dam is in the process of construction, what the indigenous people will get? Nothing. Their homeland, their natural resources will totally destroy. Whatever they are dependent on the forest resources, that has been totally uprooted by this project. Now we are going to discuss the consequence of Tehri Dam movement. The first thing is the protest movement made by Tehri as a major environmental issue at the global level. And the second is poor and marginalized section of the society could express their voice against the powerful state and its agent or organizations. The third one is the project could not be stalled and it got completed in 2002 because the indigenous people, when they have started the movement, the first thing they have raised the issue that stop this construction of the Tehri Dam immediately, but it didn't stop and it has been completed in 2002. And its hydroelectric plants became operational in July 2006. Nearly 5,200 hectares of the land is lost to the reservoir which has been constructed for the hydropower project. The government infamously neglected to fulfill the most basic resettlement rehabilitation requirement of the common people. The relocation of more than 1 lakh people from the area has led to the protraction and the legal battle over the resettlement rights and ultimately resulted in the project delay compensation. So what you'll find in this Tehri Dam movement, people very less compensation they got and they can't fight the legal battle because there is no any legal measures is there because the government has been removed that measures. They can't challenge this Tehri Dam project in the Supreme Court. So after this Tehri Dam project, we are going to discuss the Narmada Bachao Andolan, which is also one of the river based project made on the Narmada river. According to the Narmada Bachao Andolan, the dam forced the displacement of the about million of people and affected many more largely poor peasant and tribal people. Resettlement and compensation has been totally inadequate in Narmada Bachao Andolan, and there was not the remotest prospect that the displaced people, whom we can call austere, would not be adequately resettled, nor that the ecological damage could be compensated for. In 1978, the Narmada Tribunal approved the Narmada project and final planning and work has been started for the Narmada project. While Narmada Tribunal final order aimed to alleviate displacement, it only guaranteed compensation for the legal owner, the people who have the legal land right. Otherwise, those people, those tribal who didn't have the land right or proper patta of the land, they won't get any sort of compensation, maybe in the form of cash or in kind. The Narmada Bachao Andolan leadership and its strategy. Now we have to discuss the person, the leader who are involved in Narmada Bachao Andolan. In Gujarat, 19 villages whose submersion the Narmada Sarovar Dam ensured formed the Chhatra Yuva Sangharsh Vahini in 1982, a youth protest group. Narmada Ghati Navnirman Samiti established in 1986 and Narmada Ghati Dhanagashti Samiti in 1985 merged to form the Narmada Bachao Andolan, that is called NBA, in 1989. Under the leadership of eminent environmentalist Medha Patkar, all the dam protesting group from Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra merged and become the most well-known Narmada River NGO. Along with the Medha Patkar, social activist Baba Amte provided moral leadership to the causes of preserve the Narmada River. But construction was going on with the permission of tribunals. Now what we'll find, what is the consequence of this movement? Narmada Bachao Andolan has continued to engage in various forms of direct action. Even it pursued its legal remedies. It has went to the Supreme Court. Now 2007, when the Supreme Court got the new laws in 2014, then they come out with the new verdict. Now in 2017 February, what we will find, there is a new directions from the Supreme Court that those people who didn't get the compensation, they should be given at least 20 to 25 lakhs rupees each displaced people. So this verdict, after the long battle of Narmada Bachao Andolan, now they got it right now. Before that, court was not in a position to give any interference in the Land Acquisition Act. So I can say long battle of Narmada Bachao Andolan and the Medha Patkar and the Baba Amte, there has been up to some extent fulfilled, people got some rights. After this Narmada Bachao Andolan, we want to discuss the another movement that is called Nagri movement against the land acquisition. It is based in Jharkhand, Ranchi. State government, here I mean to say the state government of Jharkhand, was acquiring fertile land without the people consent for the development of infrastructural project. It was alleged that the state government has allotted 227 acres of Nagri under the Kake block for IMR Ranchi and the NUSR, that is for the law institute which has been set up, without the adequate compensation given to the landowner. Activists of this movement argue that the tribal people of Nagri look upon their land inherited from their ancestor as their mother. The people of Nagri refuse to discuss it with the high power committee which has been set up by the state government, since they believe that money can never replace their land and sustain their lives, culture and identity. The Jharkhand government, on other hand, is guided by the elite groups which are in favor of setting up this institution in Ranchi in Kake block. So now we are going to discuss the movement and their leadership and their strategies. So here we want to discuss affected people started organizing under the banner of Nagri Chaura Jameen Bachao Sangharsh Samiti. The indigenous people chosen 19 June 2012, the Birsa Munda Maritime Day, for the Raj Bhavan siege began the march in the morning to seize the governor house. After the 7-hour siege, the governor Dr. Saeed Ahmad invited a delegation of the villagers led by the tribal leader Dayamani Barla for the talks. The meeting of the high-level committee with the villagers of the Nagri to settle the disputes over land acquisition ended without any outcome or conclusion. Now we can discuss what is the conclusion or consequence of this movement, Nagri movement. The villagers have been opposing the land acquisition and were not prepared to part with the plots even after getting significant amount of compensation from the state government. Because reason of here compensation is this: the state government is giving compensation that's the old values of the land, but they demand the compensation on the new values of the land which are prevailed in the Nagri in the Ranchi in 2012. But the state government on that ground is not able to give the new rate of compensation to the people who are losing their land. The matter finally reached Jharkhand High Court, which instructed the state government for multiple dialogue with the protesting villagers, those who have lost their land. After the intervention of the High Court of Ranchi, the government has agreed to give adequate compensation package to protesting villagers, and the government agreed to transfer IIM Ranchi out of Ranchi to some Bokaro. So the movement has brought the indigenous people into the mainstream and increased their bargaining power with the state with the help of judiciary. So here what we find, at least the people of the Nagri got something, because some of the people, they are giving lands to the legal university which is going to come up in Nagri, but IIM Ranchi has been transferred to the other place. Here what we will find, the people's bargaining power has been emerged with the state government. So now we are going to discuss the fourth movement which is called as a Nandigram land acquisition movement, started by the Nandigram villagers in West Bengal. So here what we will find, the large scale industrialization started with the opening of the port at Haldia in Purva Midnapur district of West Bengal. The state government has proposed for mega chemical hub and special economic zone at Nandigram in Haldia region. In early 2007, the West Bengal government sought to acquire over 10,000 acres of cultivable rural land in Nandigram under the East Midnapur district. So we are discussing the issues leading to the Nandigram movement. The people of Nandigram depend on the agriculture and the fishing to support their families. This area is highly productive in cultivation of Khesari pulse and vegetables. The issue of losing their home, agricultural land for mega chemical hub has become a do or die situation for the local people. Land acquisition has been increasing in India since 2005, when the Special Economic Zone Act was passed for the purpose of attracting investment from the national and multinational corporations. The peasant of Nandigram also opposed the acquisition move and during 2007 successfully resisted the government attempt to do so. So, here the movement leadership and their strategies of Nandigram. So, the growing awareness among the community who feel or who face the displacement has given rise to a wide range of protest movement in Nandigram. The people determined not to give away their land full for paddy, coconut, palm, tea, ponds, fisheries for the two special economic zone upcoming in Purva Midnapur was supported by all the opposition political parties. On January 6, 2007, a Nandigram-based Bhumi Uch Patrodhi Shamiti BUPC come into being to oppose land acquisitions. It was formed out of existing group that were opposed to the acquisitions. It also included local representative of the political parties like Trinamool Congress, SUCI and other political parties. So, what we find, the bulk of support come from the CPM, those who are opposing within the party, those who are opposing the land acquisition in Purva Midnapur. Many of the BUPC leaders were in fact CPM leaders in 2007, even though BUPC was not led by any particular group. Mamata Banerjee, the leader of TMC and other political parties leaders including prominent Bengali intellectuals openly come forward to support Nandigram movement. That gradually BUPC started enjoying considerable support at Nandigram and those few opposed to it were driven away from the land opposing people. A large number of landless laborers, sharecroppers strengthened this movement. They were convinced that land acquisition would not affect them negatively. They have been forcefully tortured, killed by the police force. But even though they won't hesitate to protest this movement. So finally, what we'll find, the movement also provide impetus to the launching another anti-land action movement in Singur. Here the people stop acquiring the land which the Haldia Development Authority planned to acquire. By massive resistance, they stop the state government to acquire the land for this special economic zone. This movement has forced the government to stop land acquisition. So, what we will find, another movement started in the Bengal, that is called Singur movement. So, after the fifth, which we are going to discuss, is the people movement against uranium mining in Jharkhand. Jadugora is called as the land of magic, where this uranium mining project has been started in 60s. It is called, Jadugora is the land of Hoen Santhal populous village. Yet on this rocky, because the mining has been set up on the rock area, I mean totally it's a hilly region. So here what you will find, the rocky shining land, where the Uranium Corporation of India Limited decided to establish the uranium mining industry. After opening up the mining, this district witnesses, this uranium mining is in the district of Purva Eastern Singhbhum, that's a Eastern or Purva Singhbhum it can be called. District witnesses massive expansion of the various activity relating to the production and the uses of uranium, such as mining and processing of uranium ore, production and nuclear fuel and production of the atomic power. But all such development did not benefit the people of this area, especially the indigenous tribal people. Here we will discuss the leadership or issues of the movement. The UCIL has taken over 5 villages belonging to the indigenous people for setting up the uranium mining and processing plant, colony and township at Jadugora. Interestingly, many families were displaced from their ancestral land due to the construction of mine mills at Bhatin, Narwa Pahar earlier. The major issue of this movement was displacement, rehabilitation of tribal people due to the construction of uranium mining and processing unit. UCIL in Jadugora has constructed tailing ponds for dumping mining waste material. The first pond was constructed in Talaitong village, and when it has been filled up, they made a second one nearby. where in due course the same people displaced twice, thrice in Talaitang and other Chatikocha village. In 1985, the UCL management sent a notice to the village of Chatikocha that they want land for construction of the third tailing pond. So they try to acquire their land of their village. On 27 January 1996, the UCL management with the help of Central Reserve Police Force and Central Industrial Security Force and Bihar Police Force enter the Chatikocha village, and without the prior permission they try to destroy their houses and acquire the land. So in that they started the movement. So we should start the protest movement which was against the UCIL and their strategies. How the people of Jadugora, they organized themselves under the JVPS and the Jharkhand organization against radiation, because the uranium mining has created the radiation and impacting their health issues also. So they have been organized against the Jharkhand organization against radiation, JOAR. The leadership of JVP has given a memorandum to District Commission of East Singhbhum with a list of demand which were enlisted that this tailing ponds which is creating the radiation effect to the people, they should take care of. Even they went to the Supreme Court, but Supreme Court on behest of the atomic energy, they have given that they are taking care of the people grievances. If they are suffering from any cancer or any other radiation effect, they will took care of. So in that case, the Supreme Court also didn't hear their cases and it has been dismissed. So they have been disappointed, but they still try to bargaining or pressurize the state government to give proper compensation. So now what we want to see that what is the consequences of this UCL movement. All the UCL management has given employment to some of the adult, those who have been displaced from this UCL, but they are not given whole compensation to all those who didn't have the ownership right, because whole area is controlled or lived by or occupied by the tribal people, because in the tribal area we didn't find all the people have the patta rights, ownership, land ownership right. So one of the problem is state government is facing, they won't give the rehabilitation resettlement package to those people who didn't have the patta rights. Only they are in a position to give compensation to those who have the legal ownership right. So one of the problem here people are facing is those who are dependent on the land directly or indirectly. So the question here, that those people who are not dependent or those who are dependent indirectly, they have been totally, uprooted or not given the compensation. So because in that so many people, they have been resettled or displaced many times, thrice or 4 times. So they won't be given any sort of compensation. So their issues is still pending and they are fighting for their compensation issue in the court or in front of in the state government or high court also. The case is still going on. So what we will find, the Indian people who lost their land due to the displacement have been turned into the cheap casual laborers. They move from Jadugora to Ranchi to other places, but their livelihood condition are miserable, and miserable to miserable. They are not in a position to sustain or survive themselves. So what we will find, they become a casual laborers. Earlier they are the landowner and now they become a casual laborers. Whatever the meagre compensation was given to them, they have been eaten up by the people in a very few span of time. So what is left with them? Nothing. So they become either casual laborers or the beggars. That we will find in the Jadugora movement or Jadugora project. So we want to conclude displacement, resettlement and collective mobilization. Under that, I want to say, in all the 5 mega projects, what we will find, the people are the sufferer. Those who are the land acquiring agencies, they are the beneficiaries, because till 2014 they have the laws where even the displaced people, they can't reach up to the Supreme Court. In that law also, even the Supreme Court can't do anything, because law is not in favor of the people. Law is in favor of those who are acquiring the land. So what we will find, after 2014, when the government, Congress government has formed the new laws, under that even the Supreme Court or the lower court start giving some sort of relax to the people who are coming to them for their compensation and other things, because that we have find in the Narmada Bachao Andolan, the Supreme Court has given the direct guidelines to the central government that pay the compensation, otherwise it will be treated as a contempt of court. So in that case, we have seen the court is taking notice or taking the grievances as a taking grievances of the displaced people. Now after 2014, people are getting their due compensation which they have been displaced long years back. Thank you.